today's horror retrospective, we're going to take a look at a masterpiece. This horror movie is not just a movie, it's a cornerstone of horror and a visual revolution in storytelling. Today, we're looking into Germany was reeling from World War I, and the film industry was looking for a way to express the turmoil, despair, and paranoia of the time. Out of this environment came The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, directed by Robert Wiene. The screenplay was written by Hans Janowitz and Karl Mayer, who used their personal experience and disillusionment with authority to create a story that reflected the chaos of post-war Germany. They envisioned a narrative that questioned sanity, control, and manipulation, perfect themes for an era of uncertainty. Janowitz, a former soldier, had experienced the horrors of war firsthand and was haunted by its aftermath. He believed the blind obedience to authority that fueled the war was a central society flaw. Mayer, on the other hand, was a pacifist who had evaded military service by feigning mental illness. His mistrust of authority figures and fascination with psychological manipulation became key elements of the story. Filming started in December of 1919. For those who haven't seen it, here we have a small rundown of the plot. The story begins with Francis, the protagonist, recounting a bizarre series of events to a stranger. It revolves around a mysterious carnival performer, Dr. Caligari, who uses a somnambulist named Caesarea to commit murders under his hypnotic control. The film twists and turns as Francis tries to uncover the truth about Caligari's sinister intentions, but nothing is as it seems. The infamous twist ending leaves the audience questioning reality, creating one of cinema's earliest and most effective unreliable narrators. The filming of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was as unconventional as the movie itself. Shot in the winter of 1919, the production team faced numerous challenges, including a limited budget and the need to craft an entirely unique visual aesthetic. One of the most distinctive aspects of the film is its set design. Directors and designers in early German expressionist cinema saw film as an opportunity to create moving art, and this philosophy is embodied in Caligari. Production designers Hermann Worm, Walter Reimann, and Walter Rohig were instrumental in shaping the film's iconic look. They designed sets that broke away from the traditional realism seen in films at the time. Instead, they crafted jagged, angular landscapes with exaggerated perspectives, sharp lines, and distorted architecture. Walls, streets, and even furniture were deliberately twisted and painted with dramatic, unnatural shadows to create a nightmarish and disorientating atmosphere. The sets were constructed entirely in a studio, using flat backdrops and painted canvases to simulate depth and dimension. This not only saved money, but also reinforced the surreal, dreamlike quality of the film. The lighting in Caligari was also groundbreaking for the time. Unlike traditional films that relied on realistic lighting, the filmmakers painted shadows and light effects directly onto the sets. This technique enhanced the sense of artificiality and created an oppressive, claustrophobic feeling that mirrored the character's psychological turmoil. This decision wasn't just artistic, it was also practical. The painted shadows eliminated the need for complex lighting setups, which saved both time and money during production. The result was a unique theatrical quality that made every frame of the film feel like a work of art. The filming process itself was tightly controlled. Almost every scene was shot on indoor sound stages, giving the filmmakers complete control over the environment. This decision allowed them to maintain the film's surreal aesthetic, but also meant that meticulous planning was required for every shot. The filmmakers had to think carefully about how the exaggerated sets and painted backdrops would frame the action. The film's budget, while modest even by the standards of its time, was used efficiently. By focusing on stylized visuals rather than expensive locations or props, the production team created a timeless and evocative atmosphere on a limited financial scale. The costumes also played a critical role in reinforcing the expressionist aesthetic. Dr. Caligari's long black coat and Caesara's skin-tight dark outfit added to their sinister and otherworldly appearances. Even the townspeople were dressed in costumes that felt slightly off-kilter, subtly emphasizing the film's distorted reality. In the end, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was a collaborative triumph, from the production designer's bold vision to the actors' intense performances and Wine's direction. Every element of the filming process contributed to the creation of one of cinema's most visually striking and psychologically intense movies. Despite its budgetary limitations, the film's innovative use of sets, lighting, and performance transcended its constraints, proving that creativity and vision can outweigh financial resources. The result was a film that not only defined German expressionism, but also set the stage for a century of stylistic and narrative innovation in cinema. Released on February the 26th, 1920, less than 1 month after being filmed, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was an instant success in Germany and soon internationally. Critics praised its innovative style and psychological depth. It stood out from the straightforward realism of other films of the time, captivating audiences with its boldness. The premiere was highly successful, showing at the theatre for 4 weeks, an unusual amount for the time, and then returning 2 weeks later. The film was also seen as a political allegory, critiquing the authoritarian structures that led to World War I. This layer of meaning added to its cultural impact, making it more than just a horror movie. It was a statement. The legacy of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is vast and far-reaching, shaping the course of cinema and popular culture for over a century. The influence can be felt across multiple genres, from horror and psychological thrillers to film noir and even science fiction, but its impact goes beyond stylistic imitation. It changed the way filmmakers approached visual storytelling, psychological themes, and the art of cinema itself. To start, Caligari is widely regarded as the first true horror movie. While earlier movies like Le Manoir du Diable in 1896 toyed with its supernatural themes, Caligari was the first to craft a deeply unsettling atmosphere using its visual style, narrative twists, and psychological tension. It laid the groundwork for the horror genre as we all know it today, influencing everything from the universal monster movies of the 30s to modern psychological horror classics like The Babadook and Hereditary. Caligari also had a profound influence on German cinema, particularly during the Weimar Republic. It marked the beginning of a golden age of German expressionist films, inspiring iconic works like Nosferatu, Metropolis, and M. These films continue to push the boundaries of visual storytelling, using surreal, dreamlike aesthetics to explore complex themes of fear, power, and society collapse. When German filmmakers fled to Hollywood during the rise of the regime in the 1930s, they brought expressionism with them. Directors like Fritz Lang, F.W. Murnau, and Robert Siodmak introduced the world to the shadowy visuals and psychological depth of German expressionism, which became a cornerstone of American film noir. Movies like The Maltese Vulcan, Double Indemnity, owe their dark and moody atmosphere to the influence of Caligari. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari has also left an indelible mark on visual and set design. Its distorted, dreamlike sets have inspired countless filmmakers and artists. Tim Burton, for instance, is a well-known admirer of the film, and its influence can be seen in the twisted architecture and dark whimsy of movies like Beetlejuice, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Guillermo del Toro has similarly created Caligari for inspiring his work, particularly in how it combines the macabre with deeply emotional storytelling. Even in modern cinema, echoes of Caligari's visual style can be seen in films like Pan's Labyrinth, The Shape of Water, and the surreal sequences in David Lynch's Eraserhead and Twin Peaks. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari isn't just a film, it's an experience. Its haunting visuals, groundbreaking storytelling, and profound themes continue to resonate with audiences today. Whether you're a fan of horror or a lover of cinematic history, this is a film that truly stands the test of time. This is a movie that just needs to be seen. It's one of those movies that needs to be seen by everybody, even if you don't like horror or the silent movie era. Caligari is one of the most important movies ever made. If this movie didn't exist, we wouldn't have the many movies that it has inspired. Let us know below if you've seen it and what you think of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Don't forget to like, subscribe for future horror retrospectives. Until next time, stay critical, stay scared.